Hey, welcome. Thought we'd talk about some current trending stocks. Um, Yesterday I mentioned this one that was kind of interesting, this Vector Acquisition Corp. We took a big gap up here, about a 50% move, and then it bled off. It looked like it was going to try to run again. Then we got another big red candle here, down 4% today. So I mentioned to track momentum and watch for this thing to possibly get going. We look at the 30-minute chart. And yesterday we were right here. I said with the thin area here, we could possibly punch through there. We had the Tinkinson underneath and the Tinkinson on top of Kijinson, the red line here. But today we got above the cloud and then we got shot down here. And now we've closed back below Kijinson and Tinkinson's coming down for another cross. So this chart doesn't look good. I'm not really interested in trading that at all right now. Another thing I like to look at is long term on these. So, this stock just recently IPO'd, so that doesn't make sense anyway. Okay. Click on a monthly chart, you get a little bit different perspective. This huge long wick, top and bottom. So NIO is still in a momentum downtrend. Came up right here and met with the Tinkinson line, and down she went again. One interesting thing to look at here is we had this green candle. We got rejected here, but we didn't make a new low here. So it looks like this may try to pull back. It's definitely not a sign of a bottom, but it's a sign of a possible pullback here. It is way oversold. Let's see, daily chart. The further we get away from the cloud, the more oversold we are. And this long wick right here can be an indication of a reversal or a pullback. Or we could just go down again tomorrow and defeat that wick and get past it. You don't know, they're just things to consider. But we are oversold here and a lot of momentum down. EV stocks are really out of favor right now. Fuel cell, daily chart, we're below the cloud here. Sometimes with a cloud shape like this, I have seen times where a stock will trade and all of a sudden the price will start climbing up this bottom of the cloud until we get where the Kijinson line comes into play and this flat area of the cloud here, and then possibly back down again. So, this has been a pretty steep momentum downtrend, and it's normal for these things to pull back. We're coming in contact with a 100 period moving average here. You know what? I need to make my charts bigger. I almost forgot. Some of you people might be trying to watch on a smartphone, and I understand these things are going to be really hard to see on a smartphone. It's just too small of a screen. If you've got a tablet or a desktop computer, laptop, that'd really be the best thing. Thinking about changing the colors of some of these indicator lines. I understand the blue one's hard to see, so I'll look into that. Let's see. Oh, Facebook. I'm not going to talk about that one today. That's just kind of been sideways for a while. GEVO tried to make a little bit of a move today, and looks like it's reacting to the bottom of the cloud here. We got Tinkinson coming down. So when momentum starts to stall a little bit, see how Tinkinson's starting to flatten out. Kijinson's flattening out a little bit. So these are all still areas of resistance. But it just, all this information, once you learn how to read it, gives you an indication of what price is doing and where areas of resistance are. So GameStop's back on a tear. I really thought this thing would get snuffed out by now, but We still have this area of resistance to watch right up here, about 250. Okay, this is key resistance right here. I'm really doubtful price is going to get past there. And right here we have the Kijinsen line, which is right about that 250 level as well. And if you look real closely, you see the Kijinsen starting to curve down some. So that's going to put more, possibly more downtrending resistance in play. But then on the other hand, underneath the price, we have Tenkan-sen, which follows price to the closest. And when the stock is trending, it'll hug this Tenkan-sen line. See how we drop way below it here when we pull back. And now we got Tenkan-sen right underneath the price. So it's interesting to see if we're going to get a TK cross and get above the cloud. And then of course we'll have resistance to deal with the top of this this long wick up here, which is clear back up there at 480. So it's interesting to watch. And you look at the different time zones. See on the 4-hour chart, look, we went into the cloud here. So I really thought we were going to get rejected here, but one thing to consider with this cloud, this wall is so steep that this would have had to have been a huge momentum drop. And we had a little bit of bullishness in the market today, so we defeated the wall of that cloud. We've got Kijinsen underneath and Tenkan-sen pushing up on price. So we're going to see what happens when we get up here. It looks like it's pretty much free to go ahead and push up to about 260 now. 250. Yeah, we've been saying 250. So 30-minute chart, you can see the momentum here. So if I was going to trade this for a fast momentum play, I would resort to a 30-minute chart and keep an eye on this Kijinsen line. We definitely need to stay above the Kijinsen line on a 15-minute chart. So I also put a weekly chart in here to give you a little bit different perspective. These lines are hard to see, but you can see that Tenkan-sen and Kijinsen are just right together right here, because we had this huge up move. So it does some weird things to the indicator, and we've got this straight up skinny cloud here. As I mentioned in other videos, it's not going to provide any support when price comes around. If price needs to come down here and test it, straight up skinny cloud like that, no support. So here's our key resistance right here at 250. It keeps showing up on the 4-hour, the daily, and the weekly chart. So that's the area to watch right here. If that fails, this could possibly return over a period of months or the course of a year back down here to the grave. But I understand that there's some bullishness about this stock because it's actually trading at 1.86 times sales, which is pretty low. But their forward price to earnings is negative, so the company's losing money, which is kind of hard to understand. Stock's trading close to sales, but the price to earnings is negative. Anyway, I don't like these metrics. I don't feel the company is investable. I think this is a trade, not an investment, especially with all this crazy momentum. And also, like I said, when price gets so far from the cloud, it's way overextended. To maintain equilibrium, price always eventually pulls back to the cloud. With a weekly chart, it could take months, but at some point, price pulls back to the cloud. Best case scenario for this stock, if it got up above here, rejected there, and tried to consolidate to stay up on top of this line of resistance, then no telling where it could go from there. But when I look at the long-term trend of this stock, this huge spike up just doesn't make sense to me. This is all hype, you know. So Just need to watch out for this thing. But anyway, if you want to trade it, I would go to the 30-minute chart using the Ichimoku and make sure it stays above the Kijun-sen line there. AMC is pretty similar when you look at the chart in a way. The price is different, of course, but we also have this this huge spike up and some selling and gapping here, and then our resistance here is at $11, top of this thin cloud. Straight up thin cloud here, didn't provide any support, we just passed through it, but we're getting some bullish price action. So this is a daily chart. Now on the 4-hour chart, just like with the GameStop, we've gone into the cloud here. Okay, I was kind of anticipating this was going to keep, see how we were hugging the bottom of the cloud, and then all of a sudden now we've jumped up into it. Excuse me. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. If we get some negative price action and this comes back down below the cloud, that can be a very bearish sign. If price tests the cloud and then gets rejected, it almost always will continue down from there. And then we've got this area of resistance up here. So we'll look at a 30-minute chart to track our momentum. And on the 30-minute chart, I drew another resistance line. See how we kind of stopped here, and we're putting in some pin bars here, and we're right there again. And that price is $9.50. Okay, so we got a little bit of resistance at $9.50. But we have major resistance up there at $11. So those are just levels to watch tomorrow. After hours, we traded down 1.72%. Another one that's been hot, and I thought this was going to take a hit or about ready to fall off a cliff here because we had the TK cross. So there's kind of some interesting charting action going on here. And we did have some bullish sentiment today with some of these. So we had a TK cross right here. And price had dropped below the Tenkan-sen, and we put in this pin bar here at the 50-period moving average. And now this candle today is kind of a doji or a spinning top, which can indicate exhaustion or indecision. And look how it's right between the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen. So that's kind of interesting. This could go either way tomorrow. Flat after hours, it didn't go up or down. So let's look at our other time periods. 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart's not looking too good. We're staying underneath Tenkan-sen, and we got a TK cross right here. So it's almost like we're a little oversold. We're starting to get some momentum, and then the momentum down reversed a bit, but we're still staying right under Tenkan-sen. And we've got this level of support that I drew here for the bottom of the cloud. See, the cloud is based on previous price action. So we spent some time in this area here, here, here. Okay, we've been to this area 3 times. So we kind of have this level of support. I wouldn't say it's real strong support. And like I said in my other video with the stair-step pattern, the market's going to want to see this next step. This gets drawn out too far and we don't make another step, then they're just going to say that they're going to lose hope, basically. So these are interesting to watch how these play out and watch how our indicator can help us make decisions and give us an indication of how these things play out. So if you're in this right now, I would hold it. I would just watch for this level to hold right here. And if this level here doesn't hold, I'd say all hell breaks loose. Because this thing's just up too much. Let's look at a weekly chart. Okay, way up above the cloud. Fast momentum. You're getting kind of a flag shape here. So some people would tell you that's a bull flag. could indicate this thing's just going to take off again and put on another huge move. The way I look at it is we're way above the cloud. We've got this straight up skinny cloud over here when eventually we get over there. But if this thing starts to consolidate, it'll change the shape of the cloud. So right now this still looks bullish, but it's showing signs of weakness. And the 30-minute chart, this is interesting. Look what we did here, where we talked about this possible reversal signal here with the Twin Sisters candle. And then we came right up and we tested this cloud. Look how the price is just trending right along the bottom of this cloud. Now we've got the Tinkinson line right here, curving, wanting to push price down. So if price is going to respect this cloud, we're going to get a drop tomorrow. Or this could be considered support, this flat part of the cloud, but on a 30-minute chart is very weak support. You have to watch for price to respect it. So if we see sideways action tomorrow, and in a couple of days we're just sitting on top of this, and this starts to twist and turn green, that could be a bullish signal. So we'll just watch and see how it plays out. This is going to be interesting tomorrow to see what happens here. All right. I know I haven't gotten into a lot of detail about all the components of Ichimoku and stuff. There's a lot of other tutorials online. My videos are mainly about analyzing these things and the methods which I use. So if you guys have access to a good trading platform where you can install the indicator and do some research on how it works, and of course I've explained a lot with how price reacts to these things, but anyway, let's see. Daily. Yeah, so we got the 50-period moving average right here, which a lot of times when a stock is trending, just like with Tesla bounced off this 50-period moving average 3, 4, 5 times, and then eventually it caved, fell below it, and that was the first big red flag. The TK cross dropped below the 50. So those are all things to watch with this. Yeah, so right now it's just kind of up in the air. This spinning top for doji right here is kind of telling me that it's getting exhausted, I guess. Anyway, so that's good for right now, and we'll see how these things do tomorrow.